This week I was very excited because I got to talk to a certain indie developer, aGlitch, and his game Ad Wars, which just hit early access last week. I'm going to have the website below. I'm going to have a bunch of information below. Definitely check that out because it is worthwhile. But for now, let's dive into the interview, shall we?
This is my first game. When I started making this game, I was a solo dev, but slowly through time, I started working with great people alongside me. That's the reason why I don't have a studio name yet, but I'll be choosing one later on. Okay, AdWords started 3 years ago when I became excessively frustrated at college. I don't want to get started on that, but at the time I was studying software engineering. I wanted to create games throughout my life. It was always my dream. But I went for software engineering because it was the easiest way to earn money. And my family needed it. I love coding for regular software projects, but something seems off to me. So I decided to follow my dreams and start this game. Start a game, any kind of game. I wanted to start something related to games.
How long? You said you've been working on it for 3 years now?
More than 3 years, actually.
Wow.
3.5 years. Yeah. I was heavily inspired after I played Stardew Valley.
Okay.
I was and I still am impressed by how much a single developer could do, driven by passion and not caring about every other element. As a multi-genre game, AdWords is inspired by different games, but the ones that mostly inspired me were Paper Mario and Earthbound, I would say. I also been inspired by a particular game mod called Super Metroid: A Link to the Past. Players play alongside the two games at the same time. They play as Link, get stuck somewhere, then switch to Samus, collect some items and weapons for Link, and then get to make progress.
Okay.
It's really amazing. That concept, I didn't see that concept everywhere else, so I decided to follow that path.
Yeah, I mean, multi-genre games as a whole, they're really not all that common across any platform, really. So it's really cool to see a game that really embraces that. But when you first thought of it, what was the scale you were looking at when you built the game? Did you want to make a smaller game, or did you really kind of it grow over time? How did the development really progress and evolve?
Well, when I first started creating the game, I just wanted to make a small game about fighting ads. It was a mobile game, I think. It seemed like a cool concept for a game and an original one, so I decided to do that. But as I started making the game, it scaled up a ton. I think that's why I would say that my type of creativity is like a double-edged sword, because it's great for when I'm hyped up and I want to write things and create new scenarios, adventures, and characters. But I didn't know when to stop back then. So I had to learn when to stop adding elements and create something that is more likely to be finished. And of course, to me, it's super important that a game is fully polished. A polished experience. It started like a very small project and it scaled up.
What about the story behind it? Can you kind of get into that a little bit and explain like where you kind of thought of that and how that grew over time?
AdWords takes place after a major event called the Apocalypse, where ad companies merge into a bigger one that started controlling people's lives, and they fought everyone that stood their way. So the Apocalypse was that climax battle that they had. So, and the main character, which name is Alt, is the sole survivor of that of the Apocalypse. His mission is to destroy ads once and for all, and for that he needs to go inside the internet and destroy them. But he's not alone on that journey. He quickly meets Magna, which is a holographic ghostly companion, and along the way they meet lots of characters, explore different worlds, and have lots of different wacky adventures. I would describe AdWords more like an open world experience. I wanted to create something where players would get immersed and everything and every single element or adventure could happen in that universe. I wanted to quickly abandon the realistic scenario.
And can players, I mean, because it is multi-genre, can players kind of lean, since it's open world, towards one genre or another, or do you really have to just embrace everything as you play through the story? I mean, how much can you pick and choose in this game?
Well, at first, when the game starts, you have one clear adventure: get into the internet. The game starts as a bullet hell, but after you clear that intro episode of the game, it quickly opens up into several different episodes. They are called Super Freemium Lands, which is a platformer, Clickbait Kingdom, which is an RPG, and Download Highways, which is a mix between maze scrolling and top-down shooter. The players have then free range of choosing their own adventure. They can go into one episode and quickly clear it from the start to finish, or they can go back and forth between episodes, grabbing upgrades and weapons along the way.
Okay, so it really does embrace the open world aspect of it then.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, so I mean, early access launched last week, obviously. When do you kind of think of the full game launching as a whole? I mean, did you have a time frame right now, or are you just kind of working through all the bugs and kind of pushing that date off to a later time?
Well, if everything goes smoothly, I will love for the game to be fully done by the end of 2023.
Okay.
At least the main story of the game. After that, I have lots of things written for it, lots of side quests, DLCs, and other releases, not just this game, that are set up in the same universe.
Okay, so you're already planning ahead.
Yeah. I'm really inspired, and I really have lots of fun writing this game and creating this whole adventure. Not just me, but all the people that is working on the game are having lots of fun creating it. So I'm really not just glad that people are enjoying now, but also the people are creating it alongside me are having that much fun. Now that I've released the early access, my plans are to release content updates which will feature new maps, story elements, mini games, and side quests. My next update that I plan to release will feature several parts of the story for the RPG and the top-down shooter episode. Since the current version only features like smaller maps for each one.
The game releasing as a whole, do you think it's going to go to Steam or Epic, or what do you think it's going to be releasing on?
I want to release it on Steam. I will release it on Steam. But I'm only waiting just now to add those story elements to the game. So it's more like a better demo of the game. I want to show hook up people with the story bits that will occur on each episode. So
you just want to grow it.
Yeah, I want to grow it a little bit more, so they know what's the story behind every episode of the game.
Okay. And you said
right now, I feel like there's some things missing that I want to showcase before I do a bigger release of the game.
And you said you have a couple people working with you right now. So, I mean, how big is your team right now?
There are 4 more people working with me. I've got an artist. I've got a sound designer and 5 people actually.
Okay.
And 3 composers. Everyone's amazing at my team. I'm really glad. I always think that I have to set up my game for them because they're just incredible. I'm really glad to be working with them.
How long did you go solo before you finally kind of picked up the team?
I went solo for a year and a half until 2019, and then decided that I should go bigger and better for the game. Yeah, I'm doing just that right now, and it's been working wonderfully. I think.
Like I said, yeah. I mean, as I said, it's a very unique game. I've never really seen anything like it. The story is really, really. I mean, like I said, it's very unique. It's very specific to your vision. I think that's really cool. You said you're already thinking about other games outside of this, though. I mean,
Yeah, I've got a whole like universe planned for this
I like
game.
it as a spin-off.
Yeah, I've got a couple of spin-off games that are set up on the same universe. People always ask me when I'm gonna release a mobile game. Well, there's a mobile game that is kind of related to this universe. I don't plan to release AdWars on Android,
Yeah,
or iOS, just because I don't think the controls are gonna fit well with touch screens. But I'm planning on doing other types of games that will feature some characters from this universe. But yeah, like I've said, I've got lots of things written for this game. I really enjoy every single second that I work on this game, and I'm really so inspired by not just by characters or the things. I feel like I'm always think like I'm the first fan of this game. Like I just founded this game, but I'm not just happy about that. But the reactions of people playing it and telling me that they're having a good time. One of my main goals for this game is to create a big adventure that is kind of customized for every player. There are like several pieces of adventures that players can choose or decide on, and kind of you like play a platformer level and then go back and play several side quests on the RPG episode, and then go back and play and solve some mysteries on the other episode, on the Maze Crawler episode. It kind of forms a unique and different experience for each player. That's one of my main goals with this game, and I want to listen to players, to their experience with the game, because I will try to for them to have a completely different experience, unique to their own.
Yeah.
Their own choosings or their own path with the game.
And I have to ask, because whenever I talk to a developer, it's always fascinating to me. What's your favorite part of the game? Every developer has like their specific part where it just pops out to them. So I mean, what's your favorite part about AdWars?
I will say my favorite parts of the game are characters, mostly. How well, now the game's not finished, but when it's finished, how they grow and change and how they react to that crazy universe that is around them. I think that in one way or another, developers tell their own stories through games, and I think that there's not only parts of me in this game, of course, but parts of what I've seen of. I'm really glad that I'm creating something where I can express those types of experiences, and not only that, but these characters that live in that universe get to experience their own and react to what's going on, or even react to what the players get to choose. That will be my favorite thing.
Yeah,
I sit down and write and get to, I don't know, create a smaller adventure where Alt and Magna do whatever somewhere, and then a character from a previous part of the level comes back and reacts to that thing. I will say that it's kind of a general answer, but that would be my favorite thing.
No, I like that. That's a good answer. I didn't actually write it down in the questions, but just as we've been talking, it came to mind. With the character, since it is an open world game and there are RPG aspects to it, how much of, say, character customization or leveling up, or like RPGs, a lot of them have skills trees. Is any of that integrated into AdWars, or is it something you've been planning? Or
right now, the game features a system where you can buy items, because the game doesn't have a main menu. The main menu of the game is playable. It's right inside on the ship. You start and you're already playing. No menus, no everything. Right there, you buy items that you can use on your different types of gameplay. That's one element that ties it all together. In the future, I will keep close to watching people play it, and I will think more ways to tie it all together.
Mm-hmm. So do you keep going back to the ship and you can like buy different things, or?
Most games start with a main menu and options and everything. At worst, starts right up. A title screen and you're already playing. You're inside the ship and no menus. You can walk to different parts of the ship that act as menus.
Okay, that's really cool.
As you make progress on your adventure, more characters will keep popping on the ship and reacting to your adventure. It's not the same if you like choose to play first the platformer
Hmm.
as if you choose later on the RPG episode. Characters from the platformer will jump into that RPG episode and react to that. That's one of the goals I will do later on. But you can also buy things for the ship and customize it a little bit. You can buy different weapons for alt. You can bring different things with you through your adventure. I also would like to do like something to store some kind of memories, like save a screenshot or something from another part of the game. The main logo of the game has 4 logos because the background and the music of the ship and the game logo will change depending on where you are, in which episode you are of the game.
So it's really, really focused on kind of immersing players in the game world as soon as you hit start, basically.
Yeah. And like I said, if players don't feel like they have to jump between episodes, like play one level from platformer and then go back to RPG, they can just enter one episode and play all the way in. I also make sure that to add those things. I think one of the main aspects of the game are options. I always try to bridge difficulty with options, not make the game easier, but give more options to players. So if you are a good and experienced RPG player, you can get upgrades for your platformer levels episode, and then you can boost up your experience in the platformer episode. You can bring up upgrades or weapons to that other level, and I don't know, maybe it will be easier this time.
The difficulty levels within the game. I know a lot of you have games that will focus on maybe 2 or 3 different difficulty levels. What do you bring to AdWars in that sense? I mean, is it just you pick your difficulty, you go in, or can you change it as you play, or is it roguelike where you die and you're done, you go back to the start? How does it work?
Well, I'm planning to do at first just one difficulty. Just because the main focus on the game is adventure, exploring. I want to reward players with that focus on exploration. I don't think like I know you can mix both difficulty and exploration, but I right now I don't think
You want it to be more about the story right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. I will add more difficulty settings in the future once it's done. I just want to focus now on getting it done, and then I'll add lots of things. But yeah, there's I have hidden here and there some things that for more experienced players, like on the first 3 levels of the bullet hell, you can kind of change the difficulty settings. It's kind of a hidden feature for now.
Oh, it's like an Easter egg, basically.
Yeah, because when I first started the game, I was planning to do 4 difficulty settings for every single part of the game. It was crazy, I know, because it was so tiring. So I ended up creating 3 difficulty settings just for the bullet hell, and everything else right now is just 1 difficulty. Because I had players play the game and they will be having a rough time on the platformer or an easier time on the RPG.
Okay.
So to balance things out, I want to test out the current settings, and then I'll be making some adjustments based on player feedback.
That makes sense. Okay. That's really all the questions I have. Is there anything you wanted to kind of cap everything off with, or?
My final thought would be like, people, if you play the game, just have fun. If you want to send feedback, that's really appreciated. I really like to thank all the support that I'm getting on social media. And that's it. I once the people told me that my game is unique or fun, I'm just done. That's it for me. I'm really happy, and that's all I want for now. But yeah, I will. I'm already working on more things to add in the game. I'm also working on patching things up or fixing things. So if anyone wants to follow the game closely, you can follow AdWords Game on Twitter, and yeah, I'll be posting more frequent updates there. One way that I take inspiration from other games is like when I design and code the controls of the game, I really try to bring something that players are already used to. Like retro players will be used to Mario controls, for example. So I try to code something similar to that, but also spice things up and take it to somewhere different place, or maybe with mechanics of that. I didn't say that, but when I first started creating AdWords, I used to share an office with my friend Phantom, who is a streamer also. Shout outs to him. And he used to stream and play a lot of Toho games.
Okay.
And I really like those games. But one thing that I noticed is that almost all bullet hell games follow the same structure and are an arcade principles. So I wanted to break that structure. I also wanted to break the RPG structure a bit. I think that indie games have that power and well, I don't want to say should, but are meant to break the rules and offer something different. It doesn't matter how outlandish it may sound. I mean, I'm creating a game about fighting ants. You fight a burger and everything. If you're out there planning on creating a game and you think your concept is too wacky or too weird, you should do it. You should do it, and you will find people who will like it.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think that's a great way to close it out.
I really can't wait for AdWars to release. It is a very unique and intriguing title with a lot of great elements to it. Check him out on Twitter, check out his website, show him all the support in the world because he deserves it, and that is all about the indie devs.
When this is what? You gotta finish your sentence. Over.
That's it. My sentence is over.
Your sentence is what, Brian? Over.